Hello everyone and welcome to MasterExcelNow. Today we are going to see 5 formulas that can be used with minimum changes and can give you a great output. So if you see on screen, the formulas that we have is DMAX, DMIN, DCOUNT, DCOUNTA, DAVERAGE. All of them starting with D. So a few things that you should learn before working with the formula. All the formulas that start with D, like I've shared on screen, have the same syntax. They need a database, they need a field, and they need a criteria. The other requirement that these formulas have is when you're using a range, you should have a header for your range. So each of the column should have a header which describes what amount, what quantity, amount, or items are inside that column. Then, when you're searching the information, it would require the column and the product or the item inside so that it can search. You can use multiple search as well. Now that we have the basics correct, let's try and use a formula. So what I've done is I have copied this entire header here, and right below I have created a data validation list for my data. So let me show you how to create one data validation list. It can be used for the others as well. So select the cell which is here right below the product. Click on data, then click on data validation. Where it says any value, click on list and then click on source. Now I need to click and drag my data, which is right under the head product, all the way to the end and click OK. And see, my drop-down list is ready to use. So the first formula we are going to try is DMAX. DMAX refers to a maximum value in a database. So we will say plus or an equals to sign. That's how you start your formula. DMAX, brackets open. First, we need to share which database. So here I'm sharing my database. Since I'm not going to make any changes, I will lock the row by pressing F4, comma. Then it will request you a field. This refers to what information do you want me to show if I find the search. So if I find that search is true, what information should I call? So since we are working with DMAX, max refers to the highest. So it is about numbers, and I have two fields, two columns that I can use, either a quantity or an amount. I will go with amount. So I would just click here on E1, which is the header for amount, comma. Then it would require search. Which area to search? What is the keyword that I need to search? So usually we take only this or this. But in my case, I'm going to take all of them. The ones which are blank will not be used if you have a search criteria. So I use this and I'm going to lock my range as well. Brackets closed and hit enter. So right now, because there's no value, it is going to show you the highest amount here, which is 2963. So let's give it some criteria. I want the product as, let's say, desktop. So if we go here, desktop, this is the highest value which has been sold. If I go below, it's 811. If I go below, it is 868, and so on, right? Now I choose desktop, then I choose the region, let's say in South. In South, desktops, the highest value or the highest amount is 811. Now, let's say if I choose a person. So if the person is there, because it may so happen Alex is only working in the East, right? So let's say Chris. So Chris is working in the South, yes. But if I choose, let's say David, it will show 0 because David, the third search criteria, does not meet our output. David does not work in South. He works in the North division. So this is how you can filter and find the information real quickly. Let's move to DMIN, which is database minimum. So all I'm going to do is make a change here with where it says DMAX, I'm going to say DMIN, and everything else remains the same for now. DMIN refers to minimum in the database. Again, I'm using the field as amount. My response or my answer should be this. So here, let's say this time I want to choose the salesperson only, Chris. So the minimum sale Chris has done is 811, right? I could choose Alex, it's 558. I could choose Ben, it's 484. Let's say if I were to choose a product, let's say mouse, the minimum sales for mouse are 1351 and probably use a date. So I have dates here. Let's say I want to see 5th. On 5th, this was the minimum amount of sale. And on 1st, this was the minimum amount of sale. Next we have is a DCOUNT. So here we are going to again use a equals to or a plus formula. We will say DCOUNT and bracket on. We will use our database like we did earlier, lock the range. Then what field do we need to return? We need to return, let's say, quantity, and then we need to tell them the criteria, which is this, and we lock this as well and close brackets and hit enter. So right now there are 20 entries in quantity. So here I go and choose Alex. Alex has 5. So I think all of them have 5 each. So let's try something else. Let's try date. So on 2nd, I have 5 entries. I have 6 entries on the 1st. And let's see, I have 5 entries on the 5th. Now this count works with numbers, right? So it will give you a number output. So if I were to go ahead and say salesperson and I say Alex, it will still give you the output. Now I'll give you a quick reason why I'm saying numbers. Here in field, I have D1, which is quantity. So I delete this and I choose Alex or the salesperson rather and click enter. It will give you 0. So if I say product and I choose laptop, it will give you 0. If I go to, delete this and choose quantity, let's say 5, it will still give you 0 because now it is referring to a field which is a text. The field in case of count can only be a numeric value. So I can either use quantity or amount in my case. Let's see DCOUNT A. DCOUNT A refers to database count alphabets. So wherever you have a text, it will count. Like DCOUNT was only doing numbers, it will only do text. So all I'm going to do is make a change here real quickly, count A, add a A at the end and hit enter. I want desktop, there are 4 entries. If I go to amount and I say 1500, there is 0, see? And if I tell them 4500, it'll still give me 0. So it won't be able to count that at all. Okay, so make sure that you know DCOUNT works with numbers and DCOUNT A works with alphabets. The last one we have is DAVERAGE. Again, average only works with numbers, so we have to use a number field. I'm going to change the formula here real quickly. DAVERAGE and the header or the field I've used is amount, right? And I delete this. So right now the average is 1672.35. This is the average of the total here. Now I want to select what is the average value of desktops. So average is 873.25. So if I were to select it for mouse, it will be higher because mouse have sold more. The average value for a monitor, this is the average. I can check the average sales done by region. So in East, I have 1833. In North, I have 1598.6. I can check it by salesperson. So Ben's average is 1200. Alex is at 1833. Chris is at 2057.6 and David is at 1598.6. Now I know who's performing better and who's not. So this is how you work all these 5 formulas. Remember, the functions or these formulas only have a difference on how they work on the fields, whether it's a text field or a character field. So this is pretty much it. I hope you like the content. Do like, share, and subscribe the channel and leave us your feedback so that we can improve on our content and share the better ones with you. Good day.